Dapo Adaramewa, who is an entrepreneur, a strategy and policy consultant, and a proud, outspoken member of the Obedient Movement. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for that spectacular introduction as well.
Oh, really?
That was good.
Okay, maybe you have to pay for that one.
Okay.
But I have to, first of all, point something out.
Okay.
Your cap and your spectacles remind me of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Is that deliberate?
I've heard that before, and I've
Okay.
also heard that the mustache is, what's his name? I've forgotten his name now. Another one of our prominent leaders as well.
Okay.
I certainly admire Chief Obafemi Awolowo. So
okay.
if people say I look like him, I'll take it. Thank you.
Maybe in a way, also, the spectacles will remind you of the president, but we don't want to go there right now.
Oh, okay.
Well, one of the conversations, well, let's start with that. Let's taper back to what our previous guest spoke about when he was talking about the criticism of Mr. Peter Obi. The people are criticizing him that about particularly concerning the passport renewal and all of that, and that's not the only criticism. He's also gotten some clapbacks from people about his comments concerning the Rivers State elections and all of that. What do you make of all of that? First of all, his comments and the clapbacks that you've heard.
Well, it's not new that there are clapbacks to everything. I genuinely believe His Excellency Peter Obi could say water is good for the body, and the opposition would drum up some argument against that and say he's trying to water down Nigerians' opinions. That is not, it's not new. It's just a factor of fear. I mean, we all saw what's happening in Rivers State. We all saw what seems to be an unconstitutional overthrow of a democratic elected body. Now we're having elections under an undemocratic, administrator of the state. So I don't think there's anybody that really, who cares about democracy that would not speak out against what happened and what is happening in Rivers State. It's just unfortunate that politics has become such a toxic thing that we cannot call out things that are against that, because an attack on democracy is not an attack on His Excellency Peter Obi alone. It's an attack on every member of the democratic institution, including the ruling APC party. So the very people who are proponents for all these actions or all the things that are happening in Rivers State will also be the people who suffer from it later down the line.
I saw one of the things that you said about yourself, an outspoken governance advocate. And so let's speak to the governance part of it. Because for every environment, well, even though it is popularly said that there is nothing new under the sun, yes. But then there are some things, we have innovation. Mm-hmm. There are some things will still happen that would be like, wait, what's going on here? In the case of Rivers State, for instance, one of the complex dynamics here is this. On the one hand, as you said, and a number of people have said, these local government elections happened under an emergency, a state of emergency. It's a very novel thing. I don't think that has happened before in our polity, even be it democratic or military. But the other angle to it is that there is a tenure to every local government administration. They have to get out of the office at some point. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled that if you do not have a democratically elected local government system, you cannot get your local government resources. So now we seem to be standing between the devil and the deep blue sea. What do you say about that? It's an interesting dynamic, don't you think?
It is an interesting dynamic, but it has a very simple solution. Now, the reason why we're in this emergency situation is because the president declared it. He can undeclare it at any given time. If his priority is maintaining the democratic norms and ensuring we follow the Supreme Court's ruling or whatever, it is a very, very simple thing to simply bring the governor back in time for the local government elections to happen. It was a simple word that was given from his, and that is still being disputed in the courts, by the way. But he can simply go back on that. It's not, we are not in a tight corner. It's a very simple thing. The same way he woke up in the morning, wrote something out, gave an interview, and passed, he can also wake up in the morning and reverse it.
So he just reverses the state of emergency simply because of a local government election?
No, simply because it's unconstitutional and it's detrimental to democracy.
What is unconstitutional? The fact that he declared the state of emergency?
The state of emergency, removing the governor and all duly elected officials within that state. I am of the opinion that it is, unconstitutional. That is still being disputed in the courts, but I have my own strong opinions about that. But he certainly has taken this action, and he can reverse it at any given time. Rivers is not better as a result of that decision.
Okay. Well, it's not unconstitutional to declare a state of emergency. What is being contested is the removal of the governor and all of those things. But that is on one hand. Another thing that it's not just Mr. Peter Obi that is getting the clapback. Even the obedient movement seems to be getting the same clapback of cyberbullying and any statement that is not going in a particular direction. It will seem like no other person's comment matters if it doesn't align with that of the obedient movement. How do you respond to that? Is that a fair way to look at it?
You see, these accusations, I find them very interesting. Now, let's bear in mind, what is the obedient movement? Let's try and take that moniker apart, right? It is simply a collection of individuals who believe that a new Nigeria is possible. It's a bunch of individuals who believe that politics can be played differently. And we see an embodiment of these values in His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi, right? Now, not all of us are on Twitter. And this idea that anything that happens in the Twitter space is representative of all of the whole obedient movement is just wrong. The large majority of obedients are people like myself, businessmen, entrepreneurs, who just simply believe that the best hope we have is embodied in Mr. Obi, right? Now, there are some people who do say offensive things. And the truth is, His Excellency Peter Obi has always called for issue-based politics, not politics of religion, not politics of sentiment, not politics of tribe, not politics of insults. He himself has never insulted anybody. He has, in fact, come to the defense of some people that were being bullied online. So this idea that we are going to blame Peter Obi for anything that anybody on Twitter does, it's just flat out wrong.
Well, clearly, no one is blaming Mr. Peter Obi for the comment of anybody.
They are.
Oh, really?
Some individuals certainly are.
Perhaps maybe the expectation is as a leader of the obedient, because the obedient movement, the word obedient drew its name from his surname. So perhaps the expectation is, look, you should be able to, correct these guys. And, one wonders whether or not that happens by the system, the leadership, such as yourself.
He has done that. He has done that in the past. He has said it repeatedly that we need to focus on the issues of Nigerians. And that should be the priority. We should focus on the fact that Nigerians are unemployed, the fact that people are hungry, the fact that people are struggling to meet their daily needs. There are families that are deciding whether they can eat egg on Monday or they have to wait till Friday, right? Those are the issues His Excellency would like us to talk about, and not these issues. He has come out again and again and said it is not about anything else apart from the issues. His passion is in Nigerians. Now, I don't know if they expect Peter Obi to give up his pursuit to revolutionize and change our country and start responding that anytime somebody says something wrong, he's like a school teacher with a cane running around flogging people on Twitter and say, don't say it, don't say it. That's not his job.
Well, anyway, I don't think... I'm even trying to picture that image in my head of some school teacher coming up, but I don't think that will
responding
happen.
To every tweet.
Something you said, that about a bunch of people who believe that a new Nigeria is possible. Absolutely. So on the one hand, it will sound like anything that does not sound like what the obedient movement wants. Without interrogating it, there is an attack on that statement. On the other hand, you said a new Nigeria is possible, and everybody believes that a new Nigeria is possible, including 100%. The people who are not members of the obedient movement. But the question is, how? So, to take on that issue, on the one hand, if it doesn't sound like what the obedient movement wants, or members of the obedient movement wants, it's clobbered down. How do you have, I'm pretty sure you've heard that before. How do you respond to that one?
There's nothing wrong with debating issues. You see, when you say clobbered down, it's almost as if we're trying to close the conversation. I don't believe that's anybody's hope or desire. It's the same regardless of what political party that you support, right? If somebody proposes an idea that you do not align with, you speak up against it. That is the nature of democracy. There has to be a dialogue from both sides. And the obedient sometimes are very vocal about it. They say, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I agree with you.
There are some elements that maybe shouldn't articulate themselves that way. But we get that across board. It's a huge movement. Remember, in the last election, we had over 6 million people vote for His Excellency. Well, that's what was declared for us anyway. We know it was more than that, right? Now, how many of those people do you think are on Twitter? Not many. So the obedient movement is much broader than Twitter. Twitter just happens to be a very vocal area where discussions are happening. And if you look at the nature of Twitter itself as a social media, right, you will see that across different countries, it is known for, you know, being a place of rancor in America, in the UK. It is that kind of space. And that's okay to an extent, because sometimes things need to be said, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that the obedient movement is a large movement that is focused primarily on the well-being of Nigeria. His Excellency Peter Obi is focused on primarily the well-being of Nigeria, and that's why he believes in security, education, and creating jobs for Nigerians.
Well, you've also heard this spat between Mr. Peter Obi and Mr. Adeyanju. The back and forth that is making the rounds about that one. Accusation, counter-accusation, daring, you know, here and there. What's your take on that?
I think Deji has spoken well of Peter Obi in the past, right? Because he recognized the value that he brings to Nigeria. Now, somewhere along the way, some individuals hurt Deji's feelings. And I understand that. Now, while his feelings
Some individuals being members of the obedient movement?
People on Twitter.
Okay.
Have hurt his feelings and said some things that hurt his feelings. His feelings are valid. But he really needs to put his big boy pants on and focus on the main issue of Nigerians. Just because individuals insulted you personally does not mean you then attack His Excellency Peter Obi, who is a bastion. He is a politician that stands above all the rest, and we all know it. So these false accusations, which rightfully, like any other citizen, His Excellency has a right to defend himself. He has a right to sue an individual who's defaming him and making not just insulting statements, but claims of bribery, of things that we all know to be wrong. I mean, look at the antecedents of the man. Here we have an individual who came to Nigerians and said, I want to be your president. And I know they give she. Now, you're going to tell me that's the same person that went to go and be talking to Deji about money? Absolutely not. It's impossible.
But you do know that, you know Deji Adeyanju.
Yes.
You do know that before this guy will even make any statement, there will be one or two things that he will have up his sleeve. Do you think it is a battle the obedient movement wants to face?
If he has anything up his sleeve, he would have taken it to the right channels. There's the EFCC, there's the ICPC, all of which are on Twitter. He can simply DM them with his evidence and have them do their investigation and arrest anybody who is found culpable. This isn't about crimes. This is a trial in the public space. Now, it begs the question that what is motivating this change? Why is he so desperately trying to harm His Excellency, right? And I think it's because they're afraid. And they should be afraid. The greatest threat to the political system in Nigeria...
Who is afraid now? Deji Adeyanju is afraid?
The existing order and anybody who supports it.
And you think Deji Adeyanju is working with the opposition to the Labour Party?
He is certainly working to the detriment of the one and only viable candidate that is giving us an alternative in Nigeria right now. He is working to... even if he's not under the APC banner, he's certainly working to their benefit and has promised to give his vote to them.
Well, it's his.
It is. He can give it to whoever he wants.
You know, quickly to the question of how that we spoke about the other time. One of the challenges I have seen in my practice is that, to a large extent, many people speak without getting facts, without verifying facts. And the obedient movement is no less. Sometimes there are some facts that you hear. Someone just throws something and without verifying it, everyone goes after it. Yeah, I mean, it's not only the obedient movement that does it, but, and you also said that the youth, we know the way they are and everything. It's not peculiar to this youth generation. The Awolowas, the Azikiwes, they were also quote-unquote rebels in their own time. Otherwise, we would not have the independence we had at the time that we had it. Now, but the question is that of verifying facts. Is there a system by the obedient movement, the management of the obedient movement, for voter education, political education for the people, so they speak with facts, with knowledge, and not just with sentiments.
That's right. Now, there seems to be this mistake that anybody who believes in Obi and says anything now speaks on behalf of the obedient movement. And that's just blatantly wrong. Do you understand? There are people who say whatever they want to say, articulate themselves without fact-finding. That does not mean that that is the stance and the belief of all obedience. I'm standing here today, a firm believer in the obedient movement, a firm believer in His Excellency Peter Obi. And you can check my Twitter, you can check my entire Twitter history. I've never at any point insulted anybody because I believe in what His Excellency says, which is let us focus on the issues that really matter.
Okay.
The issues that will make a difference in the lives of Nigerians. Because no matter how much we talk about what Deji said, what he did not say, people are hungry. Many went to bed hungry yesterday night. And that's not what is going to change it. Okay. It's what we do in the next election that might give us hope.
Okay. Quickly, because we're out of time. What party does the obedient movement belong to?
We are firm believers in His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi being the best candidate for the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay.
Right?
So what party does your principal belong to?
Right now, he's in the Labour Party.
Not the ADC?
We are working with the ADC.
Okay. Clearly, you are sounding like a politician yourself, but I'll leave that. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Adeyanju is an entrepreneur, strategy and policy consultant, and spokesperson for the obedient movement. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.